I'd like to welcome you to the dashboard webinar that we're running today. So this is a pretty exciting and groovy product that we're developing at the moment. The dashboard technology comes in conjunction with the next generation platform. So any clients on version 609 will be able to take advantage of this product. And the dashboards is all about having a practical approach to data visualization. So looking at your data in different ways and utilizing visual representation of that so that you can get more information from your data. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Michelle Fitzgerald, a senior business consultant here at Nimbus. I've been working on and off at Nimbus for nearly 20 years and can't stay away. So it's a pretty exciting environment to be in. And Gail is our general manager. She can't be with us today, unfortunately. No doubt many of you have spoken to her previously. So today's session objective is just to show you how helpful the dashboards can be and how easy they are to use so that you can just isolate trends and be able to make informed decisions. So other than that session objective, we're going to look at the new dashboard technology, show you the existing dashboards that we've developed that are available and how to drive them. At the end, we'll have a little Q&A session. So if you think of anything or you have any questions, you can type them into this webinar chat and Lauren, my able-bodied assistant, will be able to go through those at the end. So without further ado, let's crack into it. Right on. Okay. So with dashboards, this is something new that's available within our product. And one of the main things that we're aiming to be able to do with the dashboards is to be able to give users in every company the ability to monitor key areas of interest with tiles that can have like a visual snapshot of information or even act as a launch pad to be able to drill down to more detail as required. So you'll see when we start looking at these that the information can be displayed using different gadgets, graphs, summaries, calculations, percentages, and a whole lot more. And one of the purposes of the dashboard is to easily spot trends or, in some cases, areas of concern. So they're designed to be used as an out-of-the-box dashboard and to be easy to use. So with regards to this, we have developed some dashboards. So we have an Office suite of dashboards, which focuses on accounts receivable, accounts payable, and the bank. So there's 3 differing dashboards around that. We also have a couple of job dashboards for managers, one from a supervisor's point of view, so where they might be managing their own work stack, or from a division manager's point of view, where they're looking after jobs for their division. So for example, a plumbing company might have a plumbing division, gas fitting division, drain laying division, and so on. So they might have someone that looks after those different areas of the organisation, and the manager's division dashboard is able to give them an overview of everything that they've got going on. So we'll look at this accounts payable dashboard in the first instance because driving the dashboards is pretty easy, and anything I show you here applies to any of the other dashboards that we've got. So you can see here we've got different tiles on the screen. Some of them are showing us values and counts. So our count of unpaid bills, the value of these, and then our aged trial balance, for example. And then we can see here we've got 2 supplier queries that need following up. So that's pretty sort of static information. Down here we've got the trial balance as a pie chart, and it's also showing us the top 10 suppliers for the last 12 months. Now you see, if I hover over each of these bars, it actually displays the exact amount that each of those suppliers have spent. And also, we've got that same dynamic hoverability over our aged trial balance, which also gives us our values for 3 months and so on. Now, many of these tiles have links to drill down to information. So if I'm going to click on the 3-month section of my pie chart, it gives us our total here. If I click on the plus, you then see that it shows all the suppliers that we owe money to that are over 3 months old. Best we get our A into G and get some of these paid. So once we get into these little drill downs, you can filter and sort and do any number of things in this area. And this is very similar technology to other areas that we've been developing, like the GL app reporter and Nimbus scan. So if I sort by creditor, for example, then I can lump all the invoices for each creditor together. I might want to, so if I clear that sort and I sort by amount unmatched, then it tells me who I owe the most money to, and so on. So all pretty useful tools to be able to look at and sort the way that you want to. If you want to move columns, you can simply drag and drop them over to where you'd like them. So that gives you an indication of what you can drill down to. Another cool thing about the dashboards is, for example, here, if I've got some supplier queries to follow up and I come in here, I mean, this tells me who I need to contact and their phone number, but it's not necessarily telling me why. So it might be, if I look at what fields I can add to this and I click on the call notes, then all of a sudden I've got some extra information available here and why I need to call them back and what we're going to discuss. The other cool thing is that I can save that. I can save that view with the extra notes on it. And then the other thing I can do is I can pin that and make that my default, which is really handy. So you can save that for everybody or just yourself. So when I come back in here, I automatically come to the view where I've added in the call notes, and I can then follow up that information. Righty-ho, so I'm just going to jump out of here and we're going to take a look at the job manager dashboards. So I'm going to look at the job supervisor one first. So what this does is it automatically picks up who you are by how you logged on and your Nimbus user. So, which is pretty cool. And you'll see here we've got lots of different information. So down here I've got the hours that I've worked. I've got some calls that I need to follow up, my open jobs by status, some quotes that I've got to do, numerous other bits of information, which hopefully give me a good snapshot of what I've got to follow up and do. If I look at my quoted jobs, for example, I can see here that these two here are looking at needing quotes because they have a status of QR, and the last one is overdue. So it's good. That tells me that I need to get onto that one as soon as possible. Another example of drilling into information is the current job orders. So this shows me all my jobs that currently have items outstanding on order. So once I'm in here, for example, once again, it might be that I want to look at all the jobs that, all the items that belong to a particular job. So I can enter my job number in there and filter down to what I'm waiting for on that job. Another option might be if I need to chase up carters today, I can look at what's outstanding on my jobs for carters and so on. So you can see that with this filtering capacity and also just being able to resort columns and everything, there's quite a bit of capacity for you and other users to be able to tailor these and look at what it is that you want and then save them as the default. So we've got here my posted versus invoiced and open jobs by priority. So all handy bits of information. If we go to the division dashboard, this is more based on looking at information for an entire division. So you can see here some of the data has changed. We've got more open jobs. We've got more jobs that have quotes and potentially need following up. So as a division manager, I could look at this list. I can make that bigger. I can see which ones are overdue. And then I can order by supervisor, for example. So we can see it. So it might be that one of my jobs to do today is to chase up Adam on these 2 really overdue quotes. Looks like he sent them out because they have a status of QS, but he needs to follow up whether or not they need repriced. Okay, and so also here we've got posted amounts, invoiced amounts. Once again, you've got the dynamic hover, which is really handy, and open jobs by priority, and much more information. So, and you'll see our current job orders, there's actually 40 orders now for the entire division, and the value is significantly increased from the supervisor dashboard. Right, so one of the last dashboards that I want to show you is our new job analysis dashboard. So this is one that's just been released on our beta site. So what I've done here is I've got my job manager report in Nimbus, and this shows me all the jobs that we've got going on here at the moment. And you'll see that there is a link on the quoted amount. So if I click on that link, it takes me to an analysis of that job. So this is a pretty useful little dashboard, and it gets into the nitty-gritty of how we're doing on a particular job that has a budget. So we can see here we've got the main suspects broken down in these sections across the middle with our time, materials, plant, outwork, which for most people is subcontractors, and everything else we've chucked in the other bucket. Now, these tiles give us an idea of how we're tracking within these areas on this job. So if we look up here, we can see that the job actually has a status of XI. So in essence, it's finished. So good news on this job is that we've come under budget on time and materials, and we're bang on for outwork. So that's great. If I click on the outwork tile, we can see here that we had a budget for a painter and a jib stopper, and they came in on price and without variation. So that's great. Likewise with our material. So if we look here, this is what we budgeted for on the job, and this is what we actually used. So, you know, we can see that we're just under on that, which is great. I mean, the other cool thing is that if you're over, well, then this helps you identify and highlight how far you're over. I mean, if this job wasn't finished and we still had like 25% to go, then I would be wary about the profitability of that job, given that we're already at 97% of our materials used on site, for example. One of the other cool things about this particular dashboard is the capacity to drill down from some of these graphs. So if I click on the costed amount here, I can choose the job balance summary. And you'll see here is it's summarizing all the costs on this job via those sections that we've got outlined on the screen behind us. So our outwork for the job, our stock, so that's our inventory, materials that have been brought in, and our time. And if I click on the job number, you can then see it goes through and it gives me all the costs for that job. So if I want to drill down further, I can. The other option, for example, though, takes me to that job cost report and just filters by what's been costed. So you can see here, this is everything that I've posted, and then it expands out in line by line detail each of the items used. So there's lots of little cool little items that we can click on here. And so likewise, this is everything we quoted. So it's really easy to use. And it's just really a matter of point and click and follow your nose. So down here, we've got our gross profit on the job. We've got a sub-ledger summary. So this is all about, well, okay, we've got our budget. We've got what we've costed to the job. If there's items on order, it would show up here in an on order, and then the balance to go being budget less everything. So we've tried to give it a good flavour and some nice visuals so that you can easily see areas of concern. The last part of this particular dashboard is the tile at the top. If we click on that, this takes us to everything on the job. So very similar to the Nimbus job cost page, where it shows everything we've costed, everything we've quoted, and any invoices, so that we can check our balances along the bottom here. And of course, once again, you can filter and look and drill down at just specific things. So if I just want to look at anything subcontractor, then I can filter down and look at anything subcontractor for that job. So that gives you an idea of the dashboards that we have been developing to date. The next job dashboard that we're actually doing this month with our production team is a similar analysis dashboard for a job, but one without a budget, so time and materials or charge up work. So obviously that has a different focus because there's no budget to compare to, and we're hoping to have that ready for an alpha site in June, which is pretty exciting. So that's pretty much what I've got to show you on the dashboards at this point in time. And Lauren, have any questions come through?
Hi, we haven't had any come through yet. I don't know if anyone wants to pop any in the chat function that's at the top of the screen on the meeting. But what we did think is maybe to get the juices flowing for some questions. Some people might like to know, I know you've mentioned the one that we've got in the pipeline, Michelle, but will we be making any more dashboards?
Yeah, we will, Lauren. That's a good question. So yeah, we've got the new job analysis one that's under development at the moment, and then the next cab off the rank after that will be a project orientated dashboard. So that's currently being scoped at the moment and will go into the queue for development work in June. Then potentially after that, the next one will be around stock. So, you know, being able to identify your stock turn, the most sold items, and information around inventory.
Okay, cool. That might have answered Jodie's question she's just put, she says, can the job analysis dashboard also be modified to be used as a project analysis?
Yeah,
but that's
so
one of the ones you're coming up in the pipeline.
yeah. So
Yep.
that's the next one that's going to be developed, Jody, with more of a project overview and being able to drill down into that. So yeah.
Yeah. And then we've got our own Julie has asked, can you filter by excluding, e.g., you know, the little arrows, whatever you call them, in quoting?
Yes, you can. So for example here, if we come in here and, I mean, I'm just going to choose something random, but if I want to exclude stock code here, for example, I can use this little drop-down menu and say filter using and say not equal, and then put in sub. So that gives me everything not equal to sub. So hopefully that answers Julie's question.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then we've got Grant's asked, how customizable are these dashboards?
Okay, so at the moment, the priority on the dashboards for Nimbus is to develop a suite of dashboards available to our client base. So our focus is being able to provide the initial dashboards as a starting point. Being able to customize the dashboards is sort of like a phase 2 thing that will come after the release of a few more dashboards to the suite. But that is the plan, is to have these customizable so that we can add tiles and do extra bits and pieces around them or make changes.
Good. And then we've got Joe. He's asked if we're looking at a financial dashboard.
Okay. So there is that whole thing. I guess part of the financials that we've already delivered is our GL app reporter. So this gives a dig into the financials. So if we just look at this, we've got lots of options here as far as financials and being able to drill down and then look at information. I'll choose a year which has a little bit more data in it to give you a flavour, Joe. Okay, so we've got sort of some basic views here in our GL app reporter, but for example, we do have the capacity that was to click on things and get graphical information regarding financials. We will be looking at a proper financials dashboard, potentially around different areas or profitability, division profitability, and so on. At the moment, though, the GL Reporter app allows you to develop graphs and information based on any data in your general ledger, which is pretty cool. So I think, have we got our webinar of that on YouTube, Lauren?
Yes.
Perhaps that's something that Joe can take a look at and see what that can do. That might answer some of his questions.
Okay, great. Thank you. You've done very well at answering everyone's questions there. Joe says, cool. Thanks.
Awesome. No problem.
That's all right. I mean, if anyone else has got any questions, they can put them in there, but would probably just look at wrapping up just so everyone can get back to work. We know you're all really busy, so thank you for taking the time.